All right, hello everyone. Forecaster Jack Sillin, and welcome to this week's tropical weather discussion. Today we'll start out with a look over here at the eastern seaboard. This is actually the first area of interest that we're watching for potential tropical cyclone development in about 5 days. There's this upper level low here near New England. It's been producing some very heavy rain, a little bit of severe weather up here in parts of the northeastern U.S. But the aspect of the system that we're interested in from the tropical weather perspective is really this southeastern, sort of southern flank here. And you can see that there's this sort of diffuse cold front. It's poorly defined, but there's showers and thunderstorms that are sort of loosely organized around this frontal boundary. And you can see there's this larger cluster here a little bit south of that boundary. What we're expecting over the next few days is basically this cold front and its associated showers and thunderstorms are going to fester here southeast of Cape Hatteras. This is an area where there's plenty of warm water, a generally favorable environment for some gradual development. Notice the little milky color here. This is actually the remnants of the Saharan dust outbreak that we were watching last week. So that'll inhibit development a little bit here. You can even see some of these showers and thunderstorms collapsing as they're ingesting that dry air and getting that evaporative cooling. Not expecting anything to pop up here rapidly, but in the next several days, we will be watching for that system to develop. The EPS cyclone tracks here are showing a fairly optimistic scenario for this system's development. Most of the ECMWF ensemble members are on board with this system developing, at least to some extent, in the next 10 days or so. In fact, the vast majority keep it at a relatively weak system, tropical depression or tropical storm level. Regardless of what happens, even if it forms right near the coastline here, it will be moving east-northeast away from the east coast. So, not expecting any major impacts from this system, but we could add another name to the books here. We've been off to a very quick start as far as named storms in the Atlantic go. We've already passed D, the letter D, with Dolly. We could get the E storm here in the next few days. If you're out in Bermuda, keep an eye on the storm, probably up to your northwest. If you're up in Newfoundland, could see some rain, gusty winds from this, but otherwise, really nothing too much to worry about. So the second system or disturbance to watch here is going to be east of the Lesser Antilles. It's this area of sort of loosely organized shower and thunderstorm activity. The environment around this cluster of showers and thunderstorms really isn't favorable for development. There's this big ocean of dry air here. This is another Saharan dust outbreak, not nearly as strong as the one that we saw last week. And then you can see these fast-moving cirrus clouds indicating some southwesterly shear here. So I'm not expecting any development out of the northern part of this disturbance. It's the southern part of the disturbance that has a better shot of developing, but you can see it's not exactly producing shower and thunderstorm activity that's overly remarkable. Cloud tops barely poking above minus 60 degrees Celsius is not a signal that there's a robust heating going on here. So nothing to worry about immediately. If we head back to our EPS cyclone map, we pan down here. Model guidance really is not optimistic about this system's development. Just a couple ensemble members turning this into a tropical depression. So nothing to worry about immediately here in the U.S. The longer-term prospects for the tropical Atlantic are perhaps a little bit more interesting. So this is the map that we use really in the sub-seasonal realm. So that's sort of 2 weeks plus. You can see it goes out to the 15th of July here. So you can see that remember the green is this favorable, these blue-green colors are favorable for convective activity, and then the red-orange colors are not favorable for convective activity. So as we move into July, early July here, we can see that there's this zone of favorable upward motion for convection drifting into the Atlantic. It's really going to peak in intensity probably July 5th to 7th here by the looks of this before drifting off east into Africa. So there's a possibility that this is a window of time where we might have a better chance for a tropical system. If that storm closer to the U.S. East Coast were to develop, I suspect that this is probably when we'd see that occur. Roughly 5-ish days from now. And then that initial disturbance moving east through the Lesser Antilles is not likely to develop, but we could see a brief tropical depression if it really gets its act together. So past that, we move into a little bit more of an unfavorable pattern here, but not by much. Notice this favorable upward motion really consolidates over Africa, and that's the source region for our easterly waves. Those are the seed disturbances that we look to for tropical cyclone development, usually starting in mid-August, early to mid-August, but even as we move into July, given this robust upward motion over Africa, we probably look for that to the easterly wave season to pop up a little bit earlier than expected. So that's a look. The long-term prospects for tropical cyclone activity are looking quite favorable in the Atlantic, especially as we move into early to mid-July. Will any of those systems, if they develop, impact the U.S.? It is far too early to tell. That'll depend on the position of individual systems, ridges, troughs, all that sort of stuff that we can really only talk about 3 to 5 days out. So if we do get a system to watch, of course, you'll hear lots and lots about it, both here and on our Twitter account, on the blog, so on and so forth. So for now, enjoy the quiet weather, enjoy your time off from having to think about the tropics day in and day out, and take this opportunity if you have some extra time this week to review your hurricane plan, make sure that it's updated for the COVID era, and make sure that you are ready in case a storm does drift in your direction this season. So that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching this week's tropical weather discussion video, and I'll see you next week if there's nothing to discuss beforehand.